Hello, viewers. Imagine this: after finishing a long day of work, utterly exhausted, you go home and fall asleep immediately, then wake up to find you have been transported to another world. What an amazing experience would that be? Today, follow my viewpoint and let's feel it together. Zhu Mingrui woke from pain and at first thought he was dreaming, but the real physical sensations told him he was awake. Looking around the room, he even wondered whether he had somehow ended up on the set of someone's medieval movie last night. What was going on? Zhu Mingrui examined the objects more carefully. There was a desk lamp, a writing desk, and some old books on the desk. What caught his eye was an open notebook whose ink appeared not yet dry. As his gaze moved, a revolver came into view. Now he was certain this was definitely not his own room. Where was he? In a hurry, Zhu Mingrui stumbled to a mirror. Because the room was so dim, he could only make out his general outline, and found that he had become another person. Black hair, brown eyes, thin build, ordinary features. Now he was thoroughly convinced he had been transported. Immediately a memory that did not belong to him flooded into his mind. His name was Klein Moretti. Klein Moretti, a resident of Tingen City in the Kingdom of Rune on the northern continent, and a soon-to-graduate history student at Hoi University. He had an older brother and a younger sister. The family was not wealthy and relied on the brother's work to support them. Because he was a history student, in the course of studying history he had learned the old Farsak language and also Hermetic script used for rites. With the help of these two languages, Zhu Mingrui read the words written on that notebook: "Everyone will die, including me." This frightened Zhu Mingrui. After quickly calming down, Zhu Mingrui thought of another question. Given Klein's family background, he shouldn't have been able to afford a gun. At that moment, in a daze, he noticed his hands were covered in blood. Turning toward the mirror and moving closer, almost pressing his face against it, he discovered a gruesome wound at his temple. He could faintly see the brain matter shifting. He was shocked that he was alive in that condition. He then lit the gas lamp. The brighter light let Klein examine the wound more clearly, and he soon realized the wound was not worsening but was healing at a visibly rapid pace. After the wound healed, Klein went to the washroom and cleaned the remaining bloodstains on his body. Afterwards, he remembered there were bloodstains in the room and planned to tidy them up. Looking under the table he saw a cartridge, and checked the revolver, for bullets remained. Zhu Mingrui guessed it must have been a suicide, and without much thought put the gun away. At that time Zhu Mingrui's main concern was, why had he been transported? How could he return? In his memory he only recalled performing a transfer ritual from a book he had bought at a street stall. Could it be that the ritual caused this transportation? Thinking that, Zhu Mingrui felt both amused and embarrassed. Seeing that it was late, he decided to try again tomorrow. Lying in bed, Zhu Mingrui recalled fragments of memories that did not belong to him and tried to figure out what had happened. As he thought, daybreak arrived, and Klein's sister, Melissa, woke up on time. Thanks to the national education law, some public schools had been established. Although these public schools still charged fees, compared to before they had greatly helped poor people receive education. Melissa loved learning and loved mechanics. For the poor, learning could truly change their fate. Therefore Klein studied very hard. Zhu Mingrui's confusion about why Klein would have committed suicide deepened. Then Klein took out a watch left by his father from a drawer. His sister saw that the watch had stopped, so, with the help of the church bell, they fixed the watch. Finally, the two of them began breakfast. After breakfast, Melissa finished arranging things and set Klein to buy bread for the day, then walked to school. After watching his sister leave, Klein's mind was full of thoughts about the transfer ritual. Back at the chair, after the church bells rang, Klein put on his clothes, took some cash, and prepared to go out. At the door he hesitated for a moment, then turned around, picked up the revolver and put it into his pocket before leaving confidently. It was summer. Because the living conditions were poor, an unpleasant smell lingered everywhere. Klein endured the smell and hurried to a bakery. Klein's body memory told him that this bakery sold very tasty bread. After some brief small talk, the baker Mrs. Slynn handed Klein the wrapped bread and said, 9 pence. Klein instinctively asked, wasn't it 11 pence the day before yesterday? Mrs. Slynn answered, because of the repeal of the Grain Act. Klein nodded in semi-comprehension. On the way back, Klein saw many tents set up in the municipal square and a clown handing out flyers. He looked at the flyer and saw that there would be a circus performance tomorrow. Just as Klein thought Melissa might like it, he suddenly heard, "Want a reading?" He looked up and saw a woman standing in front of a tent. Klein had intended to refuse, but when he heard the woman say, "My tarot readings are very accurate," the pronunciation was very similar to the tarot cards on Earth, his curiosity was piqued. From what he knew, the tarot in this era was invented by a man called Lothar Guthatafu. This made Klein think of some related events about Lothar Guthatafu and even led him to suspect that that person might also have been a world traveler. Then Klein asked about the cost of a reading. When told it was free, Klein felt a little wary, because he understood the saying "what's free is often the most costly." But determined not to pay a penny, Klein followed the woman into the tent. The tent was rather dim. The woman sat opposite Klein and immediately lit a candle. Klein glanced at the pile of tarot cards on the table. The woman pushed the cards toward him and said, "You shuffle." Klein asked back, "There's no charge, right?" After receiving an affirmative answer, he began to shuffle at ease. After finishing the shuffle, Klein drew a card and flipped it. It showed sequence 0, the Fool. At that moment another woman entered the tent and said to the fortune teller, "Why are you pretending to be me again?" and drove the first woman out. Klein then asked the real fortune teller, "Is there a charge?" After getting a positive reply, he left. He then bought mutton and thought with the meat he could perform the transfer ritual. Back home, to avoid language problems, Klein first translated the ritual's original words into Hermetic script. Next, he placed 4 loaves of bread at the 4 corners. After finishing, Klein went to the center of the room and walked a square counterclockwise. On the first step he recited in a low voice, "Fu Seng Shen Huang Shan Zun." The second step, "Fu Seng Shen Huang Tan Zun."
The third step, 福生玄黄上帝.
The fourth step, "Fu Seng Shen Huang Tan Zun." After finishing the circuit, Klein closed his eyes and silently waited for a miracle. At that moment, the darkness before his eyes was stained with light and brought deep red. Then whispers began to whisper in his ears, sometimes delicate, sometimes sharp, sometimes wild, sometimes insane. At that moment Ju Mingrue's head ached again, as if his skull were about to explode. Just when he thought he would die once more, the voice in his mind suddenly vanished and everything around became so quiet. Klein tried to open his eyes. What came into view was a hazy grey fog, endless and boundless.